Hello, this is Victor, and today we have a test of different components for a company called Precision Imports in Nebraska. And right now we have computers that were mailed in, and we have two throttle bodies that were mailed in. So we need to find out what exactly is at fault with this combination. Now, because it was a 93 vehicle and I'm testing it on a 95 car, I had to make adapters. As you can see, these little adapters here, just so I can convert connectors. This is a 93, 92, 93 connector that I have to make into smaller ones so they fit into my sockets. And it's a very windy day today, so you might have some wind noise in this video, unfortunately. So same here, some adapter just directly connected, pins directly connected from one socket to another. A second thing is the ASR module that I received. I had it in the car and it did not give me any problems. I drove about 90 miles on it. That wasn't an issue. Now it also appears that this ASR module is a replacement module. If you compare to the one that is in my vehicle, that's original, third month of 94, whereas unit that was mailed to me is 12th month of 2001. It does appear that this is not original to the vehicle, but obviously it was a replacement unit at some point, and it does work no problem. So first thing is, we're going to energize throttle bodies with my computers. This is my Egas module and my ASR module, and obviously the rest of the modules. So let's put on the ignition, and then we're going to switch modules. So we'll put on the ignition. Ignition is on. So right at the moment we have both throttle bodies energized just fine, and they do work fine as well. So that I don't see any issues. At least throttles energized and they open and close together in sync, as you can see, very synchronized. That's very nice. Okay, so that is with my computers. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to swap out, well, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna even swap it out. Let me pull it out. I'll pull out my ASR module altogether. We're going to re-energize throttle bodies. Let's see our result. So I cannot mix mine because of the production date, and also, as you can see, some paint on it. So, and same with unit that came to me. So obviously no internals were swapped. That's 100%. Same for the Egas, by the way. See, the paint on my Egas is sort of orangey color, whereas on the one that I received is yellow. So this obviously was not touched because the seals they're all intact. So second test, we just took ASR module out completely, put on the ignition. With no ASR module present in the vehicle, both throttles still energized. However, I cannot drive the car because throttles are outside the vehicle. What I can do is I can start the engine and see if we're going to still have throttle response. Of course, ASR lights should be lit. As you can see, ABS ASR lights are lit, but as you can see, both throttles still energized. So that is the second test without ASR module completely installed in the vehicle. The third test, we'll install ASR module that came for testing. Let's put this in carefully in there. Okay, lined up. Is it? No, it's not lined up, you see. That you gotta be easy on. It's not lined up. I have to reinstall it because there are two connectors on the bottom there. They have to match up. You can see in there, it's 2 rows. So we have 2 rows here. And guide pins are not here, so I'm gonna have to sort of work it so it's in there, all right. If I may. It's still not catching on this side. Let's see if it's still not lined up. See, that's the problematic installation. So if you cannot get it flush inside, then that means that some pins are not touching. And I assume that the problem with this unit is the guide pins are missing. See the guide pins? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are guide pins. These are good guide pins, plastics. They actually line up the connector on the bottom when you install the module. And if those are missing, they go into the openings right there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. See those round, like oval openings. Since we don't have guide pins, it's very, very difficult to line everything up because those connectors, they move in there. So obviously, it's not good. What I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna move this a little bit outwards, like such. And I'm also going to put my module to sort of try to line them up, like that. Just slightly, and see if I can succeed installing a new module. And I did have it in the vehicle, like I said before. It did work just fine. There goes. So what you want is you want them flush, same height. Otherwise pins will not touch on the bottom. So you can it's still workable. This side is a little off, but again, that's gonna work for the test. Okay, let's put on the ignition and we can also start the vehicle to see the difference. Okay, now we have activation on both throttles. Both throttles activate, they work. Let's start the engine. Start the engine now. As you can see, ASR light, ABS lights, they went away. No more error because module is in the vehicle. And activation real quick. As you can see, both throttles activate. Shut down the vehicle. The last unit would be our Egas module. And that's the one that I do have an issue with. That's the Egas. So let's pull out my Egas right here. I use this Allen wrench, but there is a special tool to remove computers from Mercedes computer box. So if you do this often, you need to buy that tool. But anyway, so this is another unit that I have in the car. This is also was not new unit, but this one works just well. Part numbers are the same, 7532, the last 4 numbers. You can see my unit 7532, this unit 7532 as well. And this one has all guide pins, so as you can see we have no issues there. Put this unit in. Okay. Goes in nice. Now it's nice and flush. Okay, and we put on the ignition now. So let's put on the ignition is on. And now we have complete silence from throttle, and as you can see, there is no activation. Mechanical activation is present only on driver's side unit, but not on passenger side unit. What I can also do, yeah, I can probably do that for you. Quick swap, hot swap. What are we gonna do for the hot swap so I don't have to go turn on the ignition and not to burn any computers? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out base module just to show you that the Egas module is not working properly. So take this module out, I put in my module in, so my module is in place. Take our base module, plug that thing in there, and then we'll look at, actually no, that's what I'm gonna do. We're going to show activation live. Basically what's gonna happen is once I push the base module in, it's going to feed power to our Egas module, so we're going to see activation on the throttle. So here we go, putting the module in there. That's our activation. As if I took out the key, shut down the ignition. As you saw, unit energized right away. See, they activate just fine, both. And one more last showing is going to be, do not do this, usually it's not recommended to do this kind of experiments with base module, but I just want to show live swap so we can clearly see that the module, the good module what it does and the bad module what it does. So right now no activation on throttles, there's just nothing there because base module is pulled out, no power, you can see no activation. So we're going to swap out the modules. Okay, my unit is removed. Test unit installed. Okay, now test unit is in place, flush. I'm going to have camera on the throttle body. I'm going to push in base module back. So here we go. You saw that quick activation and then shutting down right away. This is what this unit does. It just quickly activates the throttles for a second and it shuts right down. One more time I can demonstrate that. Okay, so again I'm gonna press on the base module, create connection. You saw how it tried to activate and dies right at once. It just dies. So the unit just sort of tries to work, but there's something wrong in it inside, so it does not keep active. One more time, just pull out the base module. This is like a most visual test, I would say. See, base module is out slightly. Once I push it back in, I give power to the Egas. So there we go. As a matter of fact, maybe you can catch the second throttle in the same shot. There it goes. So that's all it does. So it's clear that the problem is with Egas module, because throttles, they do activate and work with good Egas module, but this Egas module is defective. Pull the module out, put in my Egas, And once it's in, I'm gonna push the computer in, the base module. As you see, throttles activated and they stay energized, so no problems. Okay, that's fine. Oh yeah, so just to show you that actually, indeed, I'm sorry, I just had to show that there is no activation from throttles. You only saw initial click, but it's not shown on video that throttle body isn't moving. Okay, so again, bed module in, power is on, and as you saw them click, but no activation. So I can clearly say that Egas is bad, and that is something that needs to be either repaired or replaced all along. So that's basically going to be the end of this test. It's lengthy, but that proves the point that the Egas is bad. Now, throttle bodies of course could have been cleaned up and lubricated internally, potentiometers checked out and all that other stuff. This is the newer style throttle, smaller case bolts. That's the one that has issues with internal motors. They all seize up. This is an older style. None of these throttles will have problems with cables inside because those wires are good. Very few units would have problems with insulation flaking off, which is non-existent. Mostly it's the actual breakage inside the wire, like somewhere in the loom. A super rare case, I've seen that before, but super rare. Most of the problems from these units are internal issues. The motors, never seen clutches go bad. Potentiometers, yes, that happens. But this is basic. These are the only problems. The motors are in here. This one has more issues with motors than the older style. This is newer style. But wires will be fine. Motor has to be overhauled 100%, and potentiometer cleaned up on both sides would be preferred, so they'll last much longer. So this is all. I'm going to just wrap this up, put my computers back in the car, and off we go. This is basically the end of the test. Well, thank you for watching this long video, and hopefully that will give a resolution to a problem. Okay, thanks for watching. This was Victor.